Welcome to Voices from the Cliff, a public affairs presentation of Briarcliff University. I'm your host, Ford Clark. On today's program, our guest is Briarcliff's very own Sister Sarah Collis, who leads the Cliffs Theology program. Sister Sarah, thanks for joining the program today. We appreciate having you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Where'd you grow up? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I'm originally from Baytown, Texas, a suburb of Houston, and I actually thought about being a sister when I was
really?
11 years old for
Okay.
the first time. Of course, I realized that was crazy and that no one would believe me, and so naturally I didn't tell anyone. But I ended up, when I was looking at colleges and universities, I had figured out that different colleges and universities, Catholic ones, were founded by different communities. So I discerned the difference between charisms, between Franciscans, Dominicans, Benedictines, etc., based on what college materials said about themselves. And I was looking at becoming a sister on the side. And so I was using my college search to help me find a community that I would fit into. So I went to college 1,000 miles away from home at Briarcliff.
Well, then you went ahead and answered my question. Why did you choose Briarcliff? And like you said, you had all of these different choices. So, why did you choose the Franciscan way of life? What drew you to that?
Well, as I got to know the sisters here, I found that the Sisters of St. Francis I met at Briarcliff were really wholehearted about whatever they were doing, whether it was leading a prayer experience in campus ministry or playing and teaching me sledding for the first time as a Texan. We took cafeteria trays with one of the sisters down that Briarcliff Hill, or taking me to an event that would actually protest President Bush's involvement with starting the Iraq War. The sisters were all in and involved in everything that they were doing, and that really had an appeal to me, that their commitment to what they were about.
When I first interviewed here at Briarcliff, and I've only been here, this is my second semester, I was doing some research because I was not brought up Catholic, and I was doing some research on the Franciscan tradition and absolutely fell in love with it because of all the things that it stands for. Would you tell our listeners a little bit more about St. Francis and everything that he stood for and how that kind of follows through to today?
Absolutely. Francis is someone who is understood by and people resonate with Francis across a wide audience because he's so inclusive. Franciscans, of course, are grounded in the Catholic tradition, but Francis had a personality that was just wide open and met people where they were, saw all creation as brother and sister, whether it was the squirrels on the ground or Brother Wind, who's blowing us away on the Briarcliff Hill. All of creation is our brother and sister as part of this larger family of God. And there's an inclusivity in that people can resonate with, even if they are not Catholic. And with that, there's also an element of what does it mean for us to be in right relationship with one another, with all of creation, with our brothers, sisters, siblings. What does it mean for us to have that kind of a quality of relationship in all of our relationships is a very central Franciscan question. We talk about that at Briarcliff through peacemaking, through building a caring community, reverencing creation, and joyful service. But really the core of each of those Franciscan values we name at Briarcliff is relationship.
I think one of the first things that I said to my wife was, wow, these things really speak to me. These are things that I didn't realize that. I mean, it's like I kind of felt drawn here because these are some of the things that, without realizing, I try to live my life by. And so, just then reading about them and knowing more about them, it really kind of spoke to me when I was thinking about coming here.
The world needs these values.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, before you came to Briarcliff, I mean, after you got your undergrad, I mean, you came to Briarcliff to get your undergrad. You did a variety of things, and then you came back to Briarcliff. What were some of the things? Well, what were all the things that you did between in those years between getting your undergraduate degree and then coming back to teach here?
Yes, I got my undergraduate degree in theology here. When I left Briarcliff, graduated, I entered the Sisters of St. Francis of Dubuque. I joined the community. And as I was a candidate in my first 2 years as a Sister of St. Francis, I was also involved in parish ministry as a director of faith formation at St. Columkills in Dubuque, Iowa. And so I did that for a couple of years. Really, the formation process for becoming a Sister of St. Francis was 8 years for me. And so 2 years as a candidate, 2 years as a novitiate, both of those were in Illinois. One year we call a canonical year of the novitiate. That means that's an intensive year of prayer, reflection, study, learning about the vows we will take in that vein. And then the second year is a year of volunteer service, and I did that at Quincy University, so in Quincy, Illinois. And then from there, I went down to Texas. I made my first vows. And then I moved down to Tyler, Texas, where I worked in a parish there for 5 years and was involved in all elements of faith formation at that parish in Texas. And then from there, I went on to get my master's degree at Catholic Theological Union in Chicago, and then my PhD at Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley. And here I am. And I was an adjunct for a few years before I landed the job at Briarcliff.
So you've been all over the place.
I have. Sisters are itinerant. We're pilgrims. We're on the journey.
So what are some of the things that, culturally you've seen as you've gone from the Midwest back to the South, out west? What are some of the different things culturally, student-wise, that you've seen all over the places that you've been?
Yes, there are very large differences in culture across. When actually moving to Berkeley as a student was an adjustment from anything I had experienced up to that point. Being from Texas, having lived in the Midwest, even some time in Chicago was nothing compared to what Berkeley was. And sitting in on my school was the Graduate Theological Union. It was a union of schools, and so included the Jesuit school, the Dominican school, etc., and other denominational schools and some religious centers as well. But we could cross-register classes with University of California, Berkeley, and I had to take my Aramaic course and my Biblical Hebrew course at Cal Berkeley, and that was such a different experience. I had students with every manner of hair color, piercing, everything, every manner of clothing choice everywhere I went, which, okay, whatever, it's fine. But then to go around and introduce each other in the classroom at a Cal Berkeley class, they inevitably thought I was the weirdest one in the room because I was a sister. So I just decided, you know what? Okay, maybe everything is a little odd in Berkeley, and being a sister might be a little odd, and therefore I fit in. So
That's great. That's great.
yes, there are real differences. Let's see. Otherwise, I was in parishes more than in school when I was in the South, for example. So that's a different environment otherwise.
Right. Right. So then you came back here to the Cliff. And what are some of the things that, like, you're in charge of theology here at Briarcliff? What does that all include?
Well, like any other professor, it's working with majors and minors who come through who are interested in our programs. We also have an element of the general education courses in theology. So every student at Briarcliff takes a theology class and an ethics class. So I teach a lot of general education students as well as theology students. The theology students tend to be smaller in number. It's not the largest program at Briarcliff, but we're strong and mighty, and even with our few. And so what that allows us to do really is tailor some of what we offer around the particular student's interest that we have at any given time. And so we continue to do that to prepare the theology students for the track that they're most interested in. So that's been a good and interesting experience as well. We have been starting up a theology club this year again. That had, I think, fallen by the wayside somewhere along the way before I got here. I had participated in the theology club as a student here. Maybe during COVID it went away, maybe some other time, I'm not sure. So students are interested in getting involved, and also they're picking out texts that they really want to read and discuss. And we've talked about other events, t-shirts, whatnot. So that's good to see that energy there as well.
I think one of the cool things that I've noticed since I've been here is people think about Briarcliff, and you are synonymous with Briarcliff. I think Briarcliff and its Sister Sarah. I mean, I see you everywhere, and all the students know you, and I think that's really, really cool.
Well, I haven't heard that. That feels like a little bit of a stretch. I was informed by one of my sisters at the time that I am the 194th sister of St. Francis to work and serve at Briarcliff.
That's very cool.
And that does mean a great deal to me, to continue in this tradition here of the care and interest that we have in our students, helping to give them opportunities that they might not have had otherwise, all within this larger caring community that supports their growth as people and in whatever profession they may find themselves one day.
What is the future of theology here at Briarcliff in your eyes?
Well, I think the future of theology is evolving, and I think there are opportunities to connect with the larger diocese that we can grow into further. People in parishes have an interest in deepening their faith and their theology. Possibly that could be like a certificate program or something down the road to help provide theology for people in this diocese, in this geographical area. But theology can mean many other things as well. We are often a major or minor that is paired with another area of study. And so I like to say theology goes with everything.
Right.
Because
right.
it does. It touches every aspect of our lives. And so whatever ministry or work we may find ourselves doing one day, it can be enhanced by what we learn about who we are in relationship with God and each other.
Sister Sarah, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. I know you're very, very busy here at the Cliff, and I know you're headed to a class, but I appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thank you very much. It's been delightful to be with you.
Oh, yeah, you bet. Our guest today has been Briarcliff Professor of Theology, Sister Sarah Collis. This has been Voices from the Cliff, a public affairs presentation of Briarcliff University. I'm Ford Clark.